Good evening, folks. How you doing? It is me and Marv at the moment. Kevin had messaged me before showtime and let me know that he's got some Wi-Fi issues going on, so he might be a little bit late, but he is planning to be here. Marvin, you were just ranting about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child in the background. Get
Yes.
some of your feelings out.
It was not good. It's bad fan fiction, and yeah, it's it was very cartoonish in a lot of places. They cut it down from a show that took 2 nights to a show that just takes 1 night, and all of that comes from the character development. A lot of times it's just like, oh look, it's Dolores Umbridge. Like it's all just cheap pops. Like they're just like, look, it's a character that was in the books, and everyone's like, ooh, it's got the plot of a bad fan fiction where it's like, let's use a time turner to go back in time and save Cedric Diggory. And I'm like, this is every Harry Potter fan fiction ever written.
So, my recollection may be wrong, but I thought that when the script came out, because I remember when they published it, I thought it was generally well received. Did it undergo some kind of a reevaluation, or am I just remembering things
well
wrong?
received. I think most people were like, this is bad fan fiction.
Okay, all right. So maybe obviously,
I've never heard anyone say anything nice about it.
all right. Well,
I will say,
go.
from a technical perspective, it was insane.
So, as a show, if it wasn't Harry Potter, it at least had good production values.
Oh my gosh. Like there were so many things that they did on that show where I was like, how'd they do that? Where like the only thing that I could like be like, well, they're using real magic. That's how.
So, I would imagine that I should probably bring in the real expert here, who was exclaiming "No way" when I said it had been well received.
No, it definitely was not.
It was not. Thank you.
Okay,
No.
all right. So what's the deal?
It's essentially what Marv said. It was like J.K. Rowling put her stamp on it, but she didn't write it. It was like these two people who really kind of just did write fan fiction, and it was, I just.
So how did it get by? I mean, she's kind of famously guarded about what she puts her seal of approval on. So why did she allow this?
The check must have been astronomically large.
Is it considered canon?
I believe it was at first considered canon, but I think nobody really considers it that.
I think technically it's supposed to be considered canon, but everybody's just like, no.
It's canon in the way that like the Clone Wars comics were canon until George decided that he wanted to do a Clone Wars show.
To be fair, the Clone Wars comics were pretty good.
Yeah, they were. It's canon for as long as it is convenient for the creator. The second she wants to go beyond the seventh book and explore like Harry as an adult and his kids and stuff like that, all of that is gone.
It's actually a perfect example of why an author needs to be directly involved with stuff like that, because she wasn't in writing it whatsoever, and you can tell it just does not feel like it's the same voice. It doesn't feel like it's the same anything. Right, yeah, it feels like it. It feels like it. And so this HBO show, I know they're going by what she wrote as opposed to what The Cursed Child did, but still, I'm like, oh.
The thing that screamed fan fiction to me so much was the over-reliance and emphasis on Cedric Diggory.
I know, seriously, he's really not that important in the whole.
He's really not. But like every fan fiction writer and like random areas of the fandom are just like obsessed with Cedric Diggory.
It was Robert Pattinson in the movies.
Yeah,
that's why.
So Donovan Bradford saying it's like Harrison Ford did. She did it for the money, but there's a difference there. It's not like Harrison Ford is the arbiter of what Star Wars is. Right. He's the actor paid to play a part. I totally get him coming back for the money, even though he hated the character. But Rowling's got a personal stake in this, and so I saw other people say that she just wanted the stage play, and maybe that's true, but it just seems odd that what apparently was panned by the actual fan base was something that she authorized. That seems out of character for what she's generally done with her property.
And there were just things in it where I'm like, she clearly, I don't feel like she even looked it over.
Well, so like they go back in time and like they meet and or when time gets changed. Now all of a sudden we're in like the future where Voldemort had won and like Snape is there. And before Scorpius goes back in time, he goes, Tell Albus Severus Potter that I'm proud that he bears my name. And I'm like, Severus Snape, even in his darkest moment, would never say that.
I didn't realize you cared about the boy.
Still has tainted James Potter blood in him.
Please, just absolutely no. There's just no way. Ugh. And she said they destroyed the Time Turners.
Yeah, well, there was one.
Conveniently.
There was one left, and then there were two left.
Yeah, conveniently. This just kept popping up. Oh, okay.
Yep.
And also, when was Voldemort getting it on with Bellatrix?
Oh, yeah, who knows?
Voldemort, who doesn't understand the concept of love. Was just like getting it on with Bellatrix. But you know what I'm saying? Like, why would he have any connection to her in the first place? He's clearly not some sort of like Casanova where he's just like hitting on ladies.
It would have been simply for the sake of producing an heir.
And I would also say getting it on does not necessarily have a correlation to romantic love.
He just said that. But my whole idea is he has no concept of connecting with people.
Right, like he's almost like a Sheldon Cooper, like who turned to evil. Like he's a genius with magic, but like all other elements of life, like completely are foreign to him.
It's like he's like an android or something.
I do have to bring in the man who looks like he's in the coziest spot on Earth right now, sir. You look like you're living your best life at the moment.
He's gonna glass.
Severus. We like pumps in a bump. Pumps in a bump. We like the girls with the pumps in a bump. Get Bellatrix in here.
Stop it.
It's time for no-nose indulgence.
You're trying to think of how you can make this joke on the WW Pro channel.
Yes, that was a screeching halt, forgetting where I was.
I could hear the wheels in your brain just hit those brakes. Somewhere Jonas was like, the force darkens.
What are you drinking, Kevin? It looks good.
This will be the Ingalls Vintage Lemonade.
Oh, I so wish I had a glass of that. Anytime lemonade is available in any kind of variety, I want it. I am so jealous right now.
Wow, I had no idea Lorn loved lemonade this much.
I love anything sour. I am a citrus freak.
This is a new thing that I did not know about you.
I did know he likes sour, but
we're getting a lore dump.
Yep. If you want to lure me into places I shouldn't go, just put lemon candy or lemon juice or.
Well, I will tell you, Lorn, at MegaCon they sell freshly squeezed lemonade all over the convention.
You keep mentioning this. I don't know if I'm going or not. I know that Pro had talked about it, but I haven't heard anything since then, so I don't know if I'm going to be there or not. I would like to.
He tells you, like, oh, Lorn, so when you're there, just, there's this place and this place, and all the lemonade you will be drinking at this when you definitely go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Marv, for the last couple of days, has just been baiting these hooks. It's like, you really should come to MegaCon. MegaCon sounds like a lot of fun. What are you doing for MegaCon?
We're all, going to be there, so might as well.
I know. I would love to. It's a financial thing. You know how it goes. Stories. Well, actually, before we get to stories, tell me what you all been up to. I haven't really had a chance to talk to you since our last show, so.
I have gotten some writing done in my novel, which has been a good thing for me. Finished the second chapter, so trucking along on that. Put my chair together tonight, which, I'm very, very thrilled. It looks like a captain's chair from Star Trek. I'm very much enjoying it. I no longer want to rip my lower back out when I'm sitting for long periods of time. And I decided I was a little experimental with the channel the last 48 hours. I was like, I wonder if the audience would like to hear about like the stars like not commenting on politics or situations with like the Amazon Tomb Raider, and they have decisively answered the question, no.
So I'm not complaining because I do love the people who come to my YouTube. I'm having the same problem. I made a hysterical Sydney Sweeney Star Wars video.
I was gonna say that's what I was doing watching that video.
And I got like 38. The comments have been fantastic, and everybody enjoying my incessant need to make boob jokes. But the holy moly, what do I have to do?
I did a Sydney Sweeney video too, and it did nothing. So
y'all talk about how much you love her, and then you don't show up for the videos.
Like, even on the thumbnail, like the plumpies were like right up there, and I'm just like, this is going to draw them all in.
I even made Grogu call her mommy.
Oh, I contributed a joke.
You did.
It's like, what do you people want?
It was my closer.
Boom.
Well, for our first story tonight, unfortunately, we have to start off with sad news, and I was really sorry to see this yesterday. Legendary actor Robert Duvall dead at 95.
I mean, look, 95 years old, that's a big bucket of win. May we all live to see 95.
Yeah, no doubt. The man was still acting up until a couple of years ago, so props to him. Hollywood has lost one of its last true giants. Academy Award-winning actor Robert Duvall, whose career spanned more than 6 decades and helped define the very fabric of modern American cinema, has passed away. He was 95. Few actors could command the screen with the quiet authority Duvall possessed. He never needed spectacle. He never needed excess. With a glance, a pause, or a measured line delivery, he could dominate a scene opposite the biggest stars in the world, and often did. His passing marks the end of an era, one built not on celebrity, but on craft. Born January 5, 1931 in San Diego, California, Robert Selden Duvall was raised in a military family, an upbringing that would later inform many of his most disciplined, commanding performances. After studying acting at the neighborhood Playhouse School of the Theater in New York alongside contemporaries like Dustin Hoffman and Gene Hackman, Duvall honed his skills on stage and television before making the leap to film. And what a leap it was. Could you imagine this being your first role?
You know, I never knew that was Robert Duvall. Albeit I haven't watched To Kill a Mockingbird since I was in high school, and I don't even think I knew who Robert Duvall was in high school. So
I had no idea he was in that until just now. So I'm with you.
His film debut came in 1962 as the reclusive Boo Radley in To Kill a Mockingbird. Though the role was largely silent, Duvall's physical performance left an indelible impression, an early sign of the restrained power he would become known for. But it was the 1970s that cemented his legend. Duvall's portrayal of Tom Hagen in The Godfather and The Godfather Part II introduced audiences to one of the most quietly formidable consigliere characters ever put to film. Acting opposite Marlon Brando and Al Pacino, Duvall held his ground, calm, calculating, and utterly believable.
It's so good in that role.
Then came Apocalypse Now. As Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore, Duvall delivered one of the most iconic performances in film history, immortalized by the line, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning." The role earned him an Academy Award nomination and became a cultural touchstone, equal parts surreal, menacing, and darkly charismatic. Yet Duvall refused to be boxed in. He moved seamlessly between military leaders, lawmen, villains, mentors, and everyday working men. Whether in The Great Santini, The Natural, or Lonesome Dove, he brought authenticity that made every character feel lived in. In 1983, Duvall won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role as washed-up country singer Max Sledge in Tender Mercies. It was a quiet film, a character study, no bombast, no theatrics. Just Duvall, carrying the story with restraint, vulnerability, and emotional precision. The performance exemplified his philosophy. Acting wasn't about drawing attention to oneself, it was about truth. He would go on to earn 6 additional Oscar nominations across his career, along with Golden Globes, Emmys, and a BAFTA, but awards never defined him. Work did. What set Duvall apart wasn't just talent, it was temperament. He belonged to a generation of actors who approached filmmaking like a profession, not a platform. He rarely courted headlines, rarely engaged in political grandstanding, rarely sought the spotlight off screen. Directors loved him because he elevated material. Co-stars respected him because he made them better. Audiences trusted him because he never phoned it in. Even late into his career, Duvall continued delivering powerful performances in films like Open Range, Secondhand Lions, and The Judge, proving that age had done nothing to dull his presence. If anything, it deepened it. Duvall often portrayed men of principle. Flawed, yes, but guided by duty, honor, or personal codes. Ranchers, soldiers, sheriffs, fathers. He embodied a form of grounded masculinity Hollywood once specialized in, but has increasingly drifted away from in recent years. There was grit to his characters, weather on their faces, weight in their decisions. He didn't play superheroes. He played men, and in doing so, he became larger than life.
Can you tell I like Robert Duvall with how I wrote this this obituary?
It was heartbreaking seeing this news yesterday. It popped up. Somebody messaged us in the back channels, and I just said, "Oh no!" And it's not like we didn't know he was 95. You know this has got to happen eventually. But this guy, I'm really glad that you mentioned Secondhand Lions, because out of all of his performances, and he's got some fantastic performances, that one is my personal favorite of his, right next to Open Range. I love Open Range too. It's my favorite Kevin Costner Western. But there was something about Secondhand Lions, I think maybe because I went to see that movie with my mom, and my mom is the kind of movie watcher who loves emotional, touching movies, the kind that make you cry. She loves those kind of movies, and I got to share that one just with my mom. My dad wasn't there. It was just her and me, and that I think is my favorite movie-going experience with my mom, was getting to watch that movie with her. And not to mention, it's also got Alfred. Why can't I think of Michael Caine?
Michael Caine.
You put those two guys together, and it was just magic on the screen. So heartbreaking news. Yeah. You guys talk about him, because
look, he was. Everything I thought was pretty much in the obituary that I wrote. But I loved how he just brought grounded realism to things. Whether he was playing a character that was rooted in real world institutions like the U.S. military, or fantasy made up things like the mafia, he always brought that same like professionalism and realness to it. And you didn't hear about him going out there like Robert De Niro shooting his mouth off, or any of that. Like, he just showed up and he worked. He showed up and he did the work.
Yeah.
And he did it well. He did it better than anybody.
Kevin?
I don't really know what else there is to say. That you guys didn't already say, but I do like pointing out that he was also a great comedic actor for the few comedies that he did. The awesome timing, always, but I don't know, man. This one hurt. This is one of the giants. And it kind of makes you realize, like, hey, we don't have a lot of these guys left when you really think about it. So.
No, not. And that's another thing to think about, is that he was 95. But he didn't look 95. This is a guy who's the same age as Clint Eastwood. They've both been on the earth for the same amount of time. And you look at it, and I was thinking yesterday, you've got Robert Duvall, you've got Michael Caine, you've got Clint Eastwood. When those guys are gone, who's left from that? From the ages during which they were making their mark on the cinema, who's left from that age, the 60s and 70s, when they really broke out?
De Niro.
Can you think of? Yeah, I guess 70s,
Pacino?
sure.
70s more.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't hold those guys in the same level. They're powerhouses, yes, but I don't necessarily see them as legendary. And these guys, I think, are cinematic legends.
Yeah, we are rapidly running out of people from The Godfather. That cast is dwindling constantly. We lost, we lost good old Sonny Corleone recently, and then now I think Pacino might be one of the last Corleones standing at this point.
Yeah, probably so. And he's, I think, 87, something like that.
Yeah, well, and you also got De Niro, obviously, who played the younger Vito, but. De Niro's too miserable to die. So,
Trish, do you have any personal memories of Duvall? Or
I'm not like you guys with the movies, but I do know I had seen The Godfather later than probably a lot of other people, and I walked away from it. And I know he got nominated for supporting actor, and I'm pretty sure he and Pacino probably canceled each other out, which is just lunacy.
Pacino was nominated for supporting actor for The Godfather?
Was he? Or was he not nominated at all? Don't get me started.
If he was nominated, he should have been nominated for lead actor because him and Brando were basically the co-leads of that film.
Yeah, but Brando would have gobbled that all up.
Yeah,
like he did. Well, if I would have had my way, it would have been Pacino would have won for lead and Robert Duvall would have won for supporting actor because my big takeaway was how much I loved Robert Duvall in that movie. And I feel like he absolutely deserved to win an award for that.
Two scenes
I get
in The Godfather.
that Brando's Brando, but come on.
Two scenes in The Godfather that I love with Tom is when he goes to see the producer and that eventually leads to the horse head. In the actually I'm German Irish. Well, listen to me, my Kraut McFriend. Like it's just an incredible scene. And the scene I embedded the scene in the obituary where he goes off on Sonny when Sonny doesn't want to go to the table with with the Turk after they tried to kill his father. So
that's my big takeaway. I did see Secondhand Lions, but it was a while ago and I don't remember much about it. I do remember having no expectations. Like a friend wanted to see it and I was like, all right, fine. And I remember thinking it was good, but I don't really remember much about it, but I do remember liking it. So
I thought he was excellent in The Judge too. That's a movie that kind of flipped under the radar because
that was when Downey Jr. was just making his comeback, and so it kind of got overshadowed by his Iron Man stuff. But you're right, it is a good movie. We got a couple super chats that have come in. We've got Wild and Crazy Bear for 5. 1994 had a lasting impact on the movie industry than 1939. I'm guessing maybe you mean 1993. Was that a transposition? My favorite was Forrest Gump.
Maybe he means since 1939.
I think he meant 93. The 94 was bigger than 93, and I don't disagree with that. Actually, when we were looking at the movies, I found like 4 or 5 different Instagram movie accounts that were celebrating 1994, and all the movies we picked were on the everyone's lists.
But by the way, I feel the need to address something from the chat. LK was just like, oh, like you like The Godfather? I thought you were complaining about it on X. No, I was being sarcastic. I was responding to the fact that the creative team for Silence of the Lambs apologized to the gender activists for making Silence of the Lambs. And I was like, well, it's about time that Francis Ford Coppola and David Chase apologized to us Italians. Because it's a ridiculous argument.
Yep. Retromeister for 5. My family and I enjoyed Secondhand Lions, which was criminally underrated, and along with Kicking and Screaming being hilarious to watch. Rest in peace, Robert. Yep. Sad news. But from there, I think our next story will make you guys a little happier. It was the big news of this morning. Gina Carano will fight Ronda Rousey in Netflix Super Fight. Historic Women's MMA Showdown. This came out of nowhere. I didn't have any inkling that this was happening. Did you guys know of anything?
100% sure it was a gag or like a parody account. I checked like so many sources before I would actually report on this. I'm like, this sounds too good to be true.
It's kind of incredible. A long-awaited women's
on the screen, Lorn.
Oh, sorry. Let me fix that. There we go. A long-awaited women's MMA super fight dream bout is finally becoming a reality as Ronda Rousey prepares to step back into the cage against Gina Carano, a matchup years in the making that will headline Netflix's first-ever live MMA broadcast. The bout, announced Tuesday, is scheduled for May 16th at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, and will be contested at the featherweight limit of 145 pounds across 5 5-minute rounds using 4-ounce gloves. The event marks not only Rousey's return to mixed martial arts after nearly a decade away, but also a major entry into live fight sports for Netflix. Rousey, 39, holds a professional record of 12-2 with 9 submissions and 3 knockouts, and was once the defining face of the UFC's women's divisions. Her MMA career came to a halt in 2016 following consecutive losses before she transitioned into professional wrestling with WWE and other entertainment ventures.
Can I just point out that I chose to use a picture of Rousey from WWE because I knew it would annoy her?
Now she's returning, and doing so against one of the most recognizable names from women's MMA's formative years. Been waiting so long to announce this. Me and Gina Carano are going to throw down in the biggest super fight in women's combat sport history, Rousey said. And we're partnering with the Fighter First Promotion MVP as well as the biggest and baddest streamer on the planet, Netflix. This is for all MMA fans past, present, and future. More to come. Much more. The announcement positions the fight as both a comeback moment and a spectacle event designed to draw crossover audiences beyond traditional MMA fans. Carano, now 43, enters the fight with a professional record of 7-1, including 3 knockouts and 1 submission victory. She last competed in 2009, suffering a loss to Chris Cyborg before shifting her focus fully to acting. Carano went on to appear in films such as The Expendables 3, Furious 7, and Entourage, as well as the Disney Plus series The Mandalorian. Her exit from The Mandalorian in 2021 following social media controversy and subsequent wrongful termination lawsuit against Disney that ended in a settlement kept her in public headlines even after stepping away from combat sports. Despite the time away, Carano says the opportunity to face Rousey carried personal significance. Ronda came to me and said there is only one person she would make a comeback for, and it has been her dream to make this fight happen between us, Carano said. She thanked me for opening up doors for her in her career and was respectful in asking for this fight to happen. This is an honor. I believe I will walk out of this fight with a win, and I anticipate it will not come easy, which I welcome. This is as much for Ronda and me as it is for the fans and mixed martial arts community. What a time to be alive.
This is tight. This for women's MMA. This is Tyson Ali.
One of the biggest storylines surrounding the fight isn't just the fighters, it's the platform. Netflix will exclusively broadcast the event, marking the streamer's first live MMA card. The company has steadily expanded into live programming in recent years, including sports-adjacent events and exhibition broadcasts, but this marks its most direct investment yet into professional combat sports. Pairing 2 of the most recognizable names in women's MMA history signals Netflix's intent to treat the event as a global spectacle rather than a niche fight card. While both fighters competed during overlapping eras, they never met inside the cage during their respective primes, making this matchup one of sport's longest-running what-if scenarios. Rousey rose to global stardom during the UFC's expansion of women's divisions, while Carano was instrumental in elevating the visibility of women's MMA during its earlier growth phase. Now, years later, the two will finally collide in what's being marketed as a legacy superfight bridging multiple eras of the sport. Questions remain heading into the bout. How will Rousey perform after nearly 10 years away from MMA competition? Can Carano regain elite fight form after focusing on Hollywood for much of the last decade? Will Netflix's first MMA broadcast deliver the audience the streamer is betting on? Regardless of outcome, the event is already generating major buzz, both as a competitive matchup and as a landmark media play. The announcement of Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano represents more than just a comeback fight. It's a crossover spectacle. 2 pioneers from different phases of women's MMA, a global streaming debut for live MMA on Netflix, and a legacy matchup fans have speculated about for years. Now it's officially happening, and May 16th just became one of the most anticipated dates on the combat sports calendar. And I already saw that Chris Cyborg was trash-talking Ronda Rousey.
I was just going to bring that up. Chris Cyborg was like, I thought you couldn't do it because you're CTE, because she was apparently calling her out. And Ronda was saying something about how, like, when she gets jabbed, she can, like, go blind or something like that.
Yep.
I was like, man, Netflix, somebody's going to die in one of these Netflix fights one day. Watch it live, because if a death happens, we're taking the replay down.
So do you know anything about those claims? Was that public knowledge before that she was making these claims, or is this... Yeah. Okay.
Ronda is... Here's the thing you have to understand about Ronda Rousey. She's insane. And she says insane things. Like, she 100%, like, is just a loudmouth, ego-driven creature. And I hope Gina Carano knocks her head into the third row. But the if they are, because people are like, oh, I think they think that because Gina's last fight was 2009 that there's like a big age gap between them. There's 3 years of age gap between them. Rousey is 39, Gina is 42, and they're both fighting at the 145-pound weight class. So
that was the part that surprised me. It's like that's had to take some effort to get down there.
Everyone's like, oh, are they going to have time to get in shape? I'm like, guys, Gina Carano didn't find out about this fight today. We did. Like, she's probably known about this for, maybe a year at this point. She's been training. Like, you notice we have not seen Gina at like conventions or anything recently. She's probably been at training camp.
Well, she said she was going to cut weight she was cutting weight because she was thinking about fighting over a year ago. That one kind of just flew under the radar. But listen, Gina was a great fighter. There was no way she was going to beat. Well, I think it's confirmed at this point, so we don't have to throw allegedly on it. The steroid freak Bane monster that was Cyborg back then. Her neck was bigger than mine. And that was just like playing Street Fighter versus X-Men, and Juggernaut turned red, and you're doing everything you can to hit him, and he's just plowing through you.
Would you say she was a sturdy woman?
Oh, she was beyond sturdy. She was a brick building. She wasn't a brick house.
Okay, Rick James.
So man, I don't know. People have been wanting this for years. I, to this day, don't understand why Dana didn't make this happen when he had the chance to make it happen.
Well, Ronda said that he's also passed on it. He passed on it.
Yeah, he passed on it again this time. I think that may have a little bit to do with the fact that I don't think he likes Ronda very much. He loves Gina, but does not like Ronda.
Listen, so. I know people that have worked with Ronda like throughout like wrestling and stuff like that. And I have heard many times that Ronda Rousey is the most insane human being on the planet, and no one that deals with her likes her.
I know an indie guy who got beat up by Ronda Rousey in 3 seconds in Pennsylvania. Greatest thing I've ever seen. Oh, she used to go to indie shows all the time. And he was there, and he challenged her, and she hip tossed him through an armbar, and it was like, it took longer to set up the camera to get the footage than it took for her to tap him out.
But I mean, look, this is the question that comes up whenever this situation is brought up, a fight like this. Is this going to be like Jake Paul and Tyson, where, it was just a big nothing burger? It looked like it was a work the entire time. But then I point out, like, guys, that last Jake Paul fight was certainly no work. He got his jaw broken.
Well, I think they both got stakes in this. I think they both have a desire to get back in the ring and actually put on a good show. I don't think either one of these people would throw a fight or rig a fight or do it just... I don't think it's just an exhibition fight. I think they're actually going to come in and they're going to give it their all.
If Gina can knock out Ronda Rousey, she her career is going to take off again. Kevin, the one thing I asked the second I saw this, I said, who does Jim Cornette root for in this one? The Republican or the woman who bashed professional wrestling?
This one's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see it. Good for Netflix. And I was kind of laughing because I think after Paul got his jaw rearranged, Mike Tyson made it very clear that that he was told not to do what was done, so he followed the script. So I'm like, is everybody just telling on the Pauls right now because they cast the checks?
Well, look, I one of my favorite Sea Dance 2.0 ones is it's the Paul Tyson fight, and it's like old Mike Tyson in his locker room getting ready to go out, and the Doctor Strange sparkly portal opens, and Doctor Strange comes out and he goes, "Mike, take this," and he gives him a potion, and he drinks it, and he turns into like Mike Tyson's Punch Out Mike Tyson, like late 80s Tyson, and he goes out there and just wallops the crap out of Jake Paul.
Frisch, do you have any interest in this?
I mean, not really, but what little I do know of it is like, it almost feels like it should be a wrestling thing, because I feel like there's a very clear face and a very clear heel.
And you ask.
I don't know, most people that I've ever heard talk about Ronda Rousey, it is negative. And I feel like Gina Carano has a lot of love behind her as of late. So I feel like it has a storyline that writes itself.
Did we say this is May 16th? I think we said it was, right? Yeah. So that's a Saturday.
Too bad it's not May 19th.
I wonder, is there a way that we could maybe do a live stream commentary on it? Watch it?
I was thinking about it, yeah. I was already kind of like trying to figure out in my head if we could all do something like that.
That might be fun. All right, let's think about it. Let's see if we can figure something out for that, because I think that might be a fun thing to do.
Just remember, there could be 4,000 matches on this card.
Well, yeah, we'd have to have other things to talk about before the main event fight.
Yeah, and then the main event may not be happening till like 11 o'clock at night.
We can prepare games and stuff, like, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of shape Gina gets into, and what. So here's my little non-expert analysis here. If the fight stays vertical and it's mostly strikes, I think Gina has the advantage. If she lets Ronda take her down to the mat, then Ronda has the advantage, because Ronda will take you down. She'll grapple you. She'll get you in that arm bar, and then that's that. But I think Gina could, you know, if she stays up, if she works on Muay Thai and kicks and stuff, I think Gina could take her out.
Kevin, competing thoughts?
I don't disagree.
All right, there you have it. We got William Schweikert for 2. You forgot the oldest movie legend, Dick Van Dyke, and you're right, I did. And God bless him too. You know, that's another one of those legends that we likely won't see another of.
I can't remember who was talking about it, but he was talking about being at Dick Van Dyke's house, and his son was there, and he thought it was the funniest thing because the son was asking for permission to go down the pool slide, and he was like, I'm looking at almost 200 years of life right here, and a 70-something is asking his 90-something father for permission to go down a pool slide and talk about their workout in the morning. 1,000 push-ups and squats every day for Dick Van Dyke.
Is he really?
Yeah.
What?
1,000? There's no way.
No, not a chance. He'd be like Arnold.
Well, that's why he's so spry still.
Maybe he's secretly a Terminator.
He stretches, he works out, and just stays active.
Retromeister for 10. It's worth mentioning Gina and Ronda have both been canceled by the mob.
Was Ronda?
Like Gina, Ronda was attacked for unpopular opinions on trans and sports, which shortened her role in Mortal Kombat 11? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Ed Boon pulled her out.
So
wait, she was in MK11?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. That's why I was questioning whether that was what that was referring to.
I used to like Ronda because she was a Dragon Ball fan, and, like, you know, she played video games and stuff like that. But then the more I heard about her, I was just like, oh. But yeah, look, if there's anyone that's going to not like the sports conversation, it's going to be female fighters. So,
what do you mean?
Like the you know, trans women in women's sports, like female fighters above all will be like, absolutely not.
I see what you mean. Yep, I get you.
You know, like if it's like the female bowling team, then maybe, you know, they'll be like, maybe who cares? But like female fighters and like contact sports, like, no, they're like, Oh, Ronda was Sonya Blade in that game. I didn't know that.
ByteDance caves to Hollywood pressure. Sure they do. Will restrict C-Dance 2.0 after viral AI clips spark copyright firestorm. Hollywood executives watched in stunned silence as clip after clip generated by C-Dance 2.0 flooded social media feeds. Familiar characters, recognizable celebrity likenesses, entire cinematic styles were replicated in seconds. Now, after mounting legal threats and public pressure from major studios, ByteDance is backing down. The Chinese tech giant confirmed it will implement new restrictions on its rapidly advancing AI video generator following a wave of backlash from entertainment power players who accused the platform of enabling large-scale copyright violations. And make no mistake, this wasn't a quiet corporate adjustment. It was a pressure campaign. C-Dance 2.0 exploded into the public consciousness after users began generating hyper-realistic video content using simple text prompts. The results were staggering, and for Hollywood, alarming. Clips circulated online depicting AI-generated characters and sequences that closely resembled copyrighted film franchises and real-world actors. The viral spread of these videos intensified scrutiny about how the tool was trained and what safeguards, if any, were in place. That scrutiny quickly escalated into legal saber-rattling. Facing growing threats, ByteDance issued a public statement acknowledging the controversy and pledging corrective action. ByteDance respects intellectual property rights, and we have heard the concerns regarding Seedance 2, a company spokesperson said. The company added that new guardrails are already in motion. We are taking steps to strengthen current safeguards as we work to prevent the unauthorized use of intellectual property and likenesses by users. While the statement stopped short of admitting wrongdoing, the move signals clear recognition that the current version of Seedance 2.0 crossed lines powerful stakeholders weren't willing to tolerate. The backlash wasn't coming from fringe voices. It was coordinated, and it was forceful. The MPA, the Motion Picture Association, which represents industry heavyweights including Disney, Netflix, Paramount, Skydance, Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers Discovery, issued a blistering warning shot aimed directly at ByteDance. MPA Chairman and CEO Charles Rivkin didn't mince words. In a single day, the Chinese AI service Seedance 2.0 is engaged in unauthorized use of U.S. copyrighted works on a massive scale, Rivkin said. He followed with an even sharper escalation. By launching a service that operates without meaningful safeguards against infringement, ByteDance is disregarding well-established copyright law that protects the rights of creators and underpins millions of Americans' jobs. That statement alone signaled potential legal escalation, framing the issue not just as corporate theft, but as an economic threat to the U.S. entertainment sector. Legal pressure didn't stop at trade organizations. According to reporting cited in the CNBC piece, Disney issued a cease-and-desist letter accusing ByteDance of distributing and reproducing its intellectual property through Seedance 2.0 without authorization. The complaint reportedly argued that the AI tool functioned as though it had been preloaded with pirated character libraries, presenting copyrighted icons as if they were public domain assets. Paramount Skydance followed with similar legal action, underscoring how widespread industry concern had become. This wasn't one studio acting alone, it was Hollywood closing ranks. At the center of the Seedance 2.0 controversy is a reality Hollywood has been trying to delay for years. AI filmmaking is no longer theoretical, it's operational. The viral clips weren't just novelties. They were proof of concept demonstrations showing that high-quality video production can now be generated without traditional pipelines, crews, or studio infrastructure. For legacy media companies built on controlling IP, distribution, and production, that's an existential disruption. And the speed of Seedance 2.0's public adoption appears to have accelerated the response timeline dramatically. ByteDance says it will strengthen protections. What that actually looks like remains unclear. Possible measures could include character and likeness recognition filters, prompt blocking for copyrighted franchises, watermarking AI-generated content, licensing frameworks with studios, but critics argue the genie is already out of the bottle. Once the technology exists, and once the public has access, containment becomes exponentially harder. ByteDance's decision to tighten safeguards around Seedance 2.0 marks the first major corporate concession in what is rapidly becoming the defining technological battle between Silicon Valley innovation and Hollywood intellectual property control. The viral spread of AI-generated film content forced the issue into the open faster than studios anticipated, and the response has been swift, coordinated, and legally aggressive. But even as ByteDance moves to appease industry demands, the broader reality remains unchanged. AI video generation is only accelerating, and if Seedance 2.0 was the warning shot, Hollywood knows the next wave may be impossible to contain. I kind of love that this is happening, because the real argument they're making is that we want to use this, but we don't want you to use this. Mm-hmm. And because Congress is so far behind when it comes to keeping up with legislation on technological advancements as well as abuse and essentially turning copyright and trademark law on its head from what its intended purpose was to be, I think the whole legal framework is actually in jeopardy here. And so I'm really curious to see how this is going to shake out. I don't for a minute believe that China is actually going to put meaningful reforms in play. And here's another reason why. I don't know if you've noticed, but since Disney started making some aggressive overtures regarding licensing out their characters to OpenAI, Google has massively restricted what can be done with Gemini and Banana 2.0 to the point that it has become completely unusable. I was attempting to use a Banana plugin myself this morning, requesting it to make a minor modification to a picture. It was just cleaning something up in the picture that was a flaw, And rather than do what I asked, it generated an entirely new image that had nothing to do with what I asked. It has become broken beyond repair at this point, so I canceled my Google One account. If they continue to try and restrict in a ham-fisted way, nobody's going to use these products, and it's not going to work for anybody.
That's what they want.
I don't think that's really what they want. It's like they can try and make the legal arguments right now to restrict their use, but it's going to break everything. If you can't sell the product you make, no one is going to continue to develop it, and they need it to continue to be developed. There's too much money on the table for them to restrict them down to the level that Hollywood wants it to be.
I think what happened with ByteDance is I think that the Hollywood studios were threatening to unleash the orange pit bull on them because despite the fact what he thinks about these studios, he will defend American businesses and their intellectual properties, and they back down. ByteDance relies on American money to make its fortune. Really, what ByteDance relies on is American data. So, ByteDance owns TikTok, and TikTok is nothing but a giant data mining scam. Meant to take all of your information. That's why you should not use TikTok, and not let your kids use it, because that's what they want. They want your data. And if this escalated, then the banned TikTok talks might have opened back up again, and all of a sudden ByteDance is losing out on a lot of money. So I think it might play nice, but I could see there still being workarounds within the system.
Oh, absolutely. It's like you don't have to use a cloud-based AI to generate content. You can run your own local LLM. Now, it's probably not going to have the breadth of content that you would have through an already trained engine. But if you're doing something that's purpose-built, you can train it with just the stuff that you need. There's no putting this genie back in the bottle. They're going to have to adapt. And I suspect... Go ahead. Sorry.
I was thinking, number two with China. There could be the American version, and there will be the Chinese version, because American TikTok versus Chinese TikTok are outlandishly different creatures. One is drives education and innovation, and the other one is teaching little girls how to be
we know
daddy's disappointments.
Trish, I know that you have actually been using CDance quite a bit for your video generation purposes.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Are you worried that this is going to impact your revenue streams for any of the AI-generated content that you have been producing?
Yes, I am absolutely terrified, and I hope that a solution that is fair to me and my wallet comes up very soon.
I don't know how people are using this CDance, because I looked into like how to use it, and there's no way to buy it or subscribe to it that I found. The website for it just says what it is. It doesn't actually allow you to use it. So I don't know if people were using it on invite only, or if this was actually just ByteDance producing all of these clips and putting it out under assumed accounts. I have no idea what's going on with it.
See, now this is why I'm reading the situation a little bit differently, is that some of the stories that I have read have claimed that users have been producing these video clips that we've been seeing, but I don't think so. I think they were all developed by ByteDance, and this was a warning shot across the bow saying, Look what we can do.
Well, that's the thing. Even if this does get shut down and they have to put in safeguards to stop the copywritten IP, the world has already seen what this can do. It is right now the most talked about AI platform on the planet because it has actually mastered combat. The fact that none of these Star Wars AI creators have used it yet in one of their fan films tells me that it is just not accessible to these people. So you got to wonder who the people are that are actually using it.
I do not think...
Your Chinese eyes.
China respects no copyrights when it comes to the West. And I think they also have a trump card in play, which is the Disney parks in China. They can seize those at any time. And I think that they've got that as some pretty massive leverage against Disney.
Not to mention just allowing the Disney films into the box office in the first place.
Yeah, so I think they've got a pretty big crowbar that they can beat with as well. To me, all of this reads as... This is China China, I'm not saying ByteDance, I'm saying China, telling the West, this is what we can do with video generation. What do you think we can do with the rest of it? This is more like the unveiling of a weapon. So I'm curious to see where this goes, because I don't believe for a minute they're going to restrict this. Not even a little bit.
No. Well, China can tell you it's going to do something, and then China will immediately go and do the exact opposite. We've watched this play out for decades. I do laugh because now they need Orange Man more than ever, and he was the one saying that this was going to happen.
This is another reason why I think that the restriction of our own Western AIs is not going to work. It's like, if what this is an arms race of technologies, we cannot tie our hands behind our backs with how it's developed, because the other side is certainly not going to. Why would we? So we'll see. Just for the record, Trish, I really hope your wallet isn't impacted.
Thank you so much, Lorn.
Retromeister for 10. Fan AI content is going to be the new Pirate Bay event of our time. This is proof true fans of various IPs that have been mishandled and abused can make better content compared to the powers that be. Yeah, I think that is also something that's got Hollywood pretty well shaken, because they have been saying up till this point that it's a vocal minority that is just making a lot of noise and kicking up dust complaining, when they say the vast majority of the audience really likes the stuff that they're producing. This puts the lie to those claims. And when you see this much content being pumped out by just individuals, it tells you that there is demand in the market that's not being satisfied. That's why I think the actual solution that's going to happen here is likely the model that Disney is kind of proposing, which is that we'll license these to a particular engine, and then if you use our characters, we own and can monetize your stuff. It will end up becoming, weirdly, a shared monetization model, which is not all that different than what YouTube already does, or allows a copyright holder to do. If you use copyrighted material in your videos, they can claim the video, or they can share the revenue with it. And I suspect that's more what we're going to see in the future. And it may be, that may make them more money than just trying to shut the stuff down. It's kind of going to be interesting to see what that looks like in the future.
I mean, look, one thing the pro said to me, because I asked him, I was like, hey, are you looking into this ByteDance thing? And he said it's from China, so it's gotta, it's probably going to be trying to get your information and data. And he goes, but if they've got this technology, the other ones will have it very soon. Like, there will be a new version of Sora probably coming in the very near future that can do the seamless combat if this technology exists at this point.
Well, I don't necessarily think that China is ahead of us. I think that we'd likely just release more slowly. You know that they've got several models in development at any given time, so it's likely that all of these various video production outfits have already got models that can do it. They just haven't released them to the public yet.
I'm rooting for Grok, to be perfectly honest. Like, I'm rooting for Grok to become the number one.
Right now, Grok has been the one that has been most consistently useful to me. Up until Gemini appears to have just completely neutered itself, I had been using it almost exclusively, and it was doing a very good job. But as soon as they put the restrictive filters in, 2-3 weeks ago, it became completely useless. And so I don't feel that Grok is quite to the level that Gemini was when it was functioning properly, but I also feel like it's probably going to get there rapidly. So
did you see, like, went viral today on X, and Elon then retweeted it, but they proposed same question to like a bunch of different AI programs, and it was like, if you could prevent nuclear disaster from befalling the entire Earth by misgendering Caitlyn Jenner, would you do it? And every other AI on the planet said no, and Grok said yes.
Well, that's good. I would totally misgender Caitlyn Jenner to survive a nuclear apocalypse. That seems like a wise thing to do.
That's a thing that's come up like that's like a example that's come up a lot. And Caitlyn Jenner has even been like, yeah, no guys, misgender me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure Caitlyn Jenner would be like, it's all right, misgender me, it's fine.
I'm good with it.
It's 11:45.
I tested it earlier. ChatGPT and I got in a legitimate fight about it.
Oh, let me tell you something. There must have been some kind of update on ChatGPT because I spent a very long time programming it so that it was useful. And now it's like I'm talking to some blue-haired fat college girl who doesn't want to say anything. And about 3 seconds, I'm throwing it out.
Let me tell you something, brother.
All right, the big
You need to
news
program it to be Hulk Hogan. And just have it talk to you as if it's Hogan.
I don't want to woke Hulk Hogan. I like my Hulk Hogan the way he is.
New Mandalorian and Grogu trailer drops. Action-packed upgrade over Super Bowl spot. Did you write this one? No, this was by Alex. Okay.
Trevor wrote the one on that Park Place.
Okay.
So I didn't write anything about this. I was like, I'm not writing about this stupid trailer.
Disney and Lucasfilm delivered on yesterday's announcement by releasing a new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, and as expected, it's much more in line with what the audience was expecting to see during the Super Bowl. Unlike the faux Budweiser ad, the new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer does everything possible to make the movie enticing to Star Wars fans. Does it, though?
Does it?
Did it?
Alex is being very kind with this.
I can tell it's trying, but it kicks off with the familiar opening notes of the Star Wars theme, something the show never did, aside from when Luke showed up. This is perhaps an admission that they need to sell the brand, not a streaming series that most of the movie-going public will not have seen, and those who have generally feel steeply declined as it went along. Dissatisfaction with Disney's tenure and control of the brand doesn't trump the instinctual tingle one gets at hearing John Williams' legendary music, or that's what Disney is hoping, at least. The new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is exactly what it was likely to be. Full of action, promising the audience a good show for the price of a movie ticket. Does it, though? It also seems like it's trying to be all things to all people, at least to an extent. Yes. Those who want something that ties into the larger Star Wars story get scenes of the Empire's remnants plotting their next move, while Sigourney Weaver talks about preventing the next big galactic conflict. And fans who would prefer the Mandalorian to be a bounty hunter with Grogu by his side have Mando getting a hit list and saying, "I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards." And there's some cutesy Baby Yoda stuff for the look at him in his little armor crowd.
My wife did. My wife was like, "Look at the baby," and I was like, "Oh, come on, still."
Well,
I was like, "You still think this thing is cute after all?"
There is a segment that, and I'm not entirely against them. I get the appeal of the father-son relationship here, and I think that is core to the show. But man, after season 3, it's like, you guys better have a plot here, and I sense they're sure keeping it under wraps if they do.
Well, I mean, look, when he's got the helmet on, I'm like, what a great dad. He's so caring. This is a really nice thing. The second that helmet comes off and I see that creep's face, I'm like, get him away from that kid.
I saw, well, I'm not going to get into it. It'll get me in trouble. But there were some, nope, shutting my mouth. There also appears to be a theme of Mando recognizing his mortality, particularly as it pertains to Grogu. He knows his lifespan is much shorter and he won't always be around to protect his boy, so he has to teach him how to fend for himself. That has a lot of potential, as it's something every parent keeps in the back of their mind, even when their kids don't typically live to be 900 or so. It'll be interesting to see if they explore Grogu's decision to abandon his Jedi training and have the Mandalorian wonder if maybe he'd have been better off staying with Luke Skywalker. This is a good opportunity for this film to connect with the audience on a human level and could go a long way towards winning people back to the brand, if only tentatively. There are also familiar Star Wars elements throughout the new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, like the many different aliens and monsters the pair encounter, and what appears to be a variety of worlds, although the presence of the Hutts suggests they'll be back on Tatooine because everything has to revolve around the cheapest location to film. The trailer also reveals that Mando will remove his helmet again, although at least this time it looks like it'll be against his will. And he still has it off when he fights that big snake monster, presumably meaning this is a means for the Hutts to try to dispose of him.
To me, I thought the big snake was like that's their version of the Rancor.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. And I actually liked the design of the snake. I thought it looked pretty good. And that is one of the things that the trailer did get me excited about. I do like that we're getting what looked more like original trilogy alien designs, if you get what I mean. The sequel trilogy, everybody looked like a lumpy mass of gray clay. and there was not a lot of real exciting design to them. These at least look like OG aliens to me.
Yeah, I agree. The thing that I noticed the most in this, and I think it was brought up on the Pro Show earlier. I don't remember, Lauren, if it was you who said it or if it was Pro or Culture, but we're no longer getting the big reveals of like, oh, it's that guy from the original trilogy or it's that guy from the prequels. We're now getting it's that guy from that Dave Filoni cartoon.
Yep.
Because there's multiples in this. The guy with the hat was somebody from the Clone Wars too. I don't remember what his name was, but yes. And so it was him. It was Zeb, and I'm like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Like, I can absolutely see Filoni's next big streaming project being just a live action series of Rebels.
I mean, I think Favreau didn't have too much to do with this, right? So
no, he wrote and directed it.
Oh, did he direct it? But yeah. He didn't have much to do with the story, though, right?
I don't know. I would assume him and Filoni probably wrote it together. Like they have the entire thing. So no, this Favreau is in. This is Favreau's baby. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I mean, I guess, but was it season 3 too? It's supposed to be his baby.
I mean, it's all debatable. You know, it's like there's what our personal feelings are, and there's what they publicly put out there, and I don't have it in me to believe that Favreau suddenly lost all of his filmmaking abilities. Yeah. The guy has been an incredible director for most of his career. And go ahead.
Oh, because I'm not saying I'm saying he's going to do a bad job. I'm just saying I feel like he clearly the story he had in mind, even the backup story he had in mind, all got derailed. So this is just him wrapping up his obligations and then going off into the dusty trail. I think that the more even just the tangentially aware fans kind of know that if they really like The Mandalorian, this isn't what they had signed up for, and I think that's why they're struggling. That's why this movie is struggling to get anything that resembles enthusiasm.
Well, there's also the time delay between releases, which doesn't help the campaign either. I think a lot of people left in the Mando Season 3, and it's been 3 years now since it released. So, I don't know, man. You're right about him being awful soft on this, though. It's one of the most striking things about the new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer is how good everything looks. It's a definite upgrade from the show, rather than just a couple of lost episodes haphazardly strung together. The special effects are excellent, the worlds look bigger, and the action sequences are more polished. Even Grogu's backflip looks a lot less goofy than it did on TV, where they clearly just threw a puppet in the air. The trailer shows off the spectacle, promising some bang for the customer's buck. Whether the actual movie delivers is a separate issue. They're finally being smart about the way they sell The Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't know if I agree with that. I will say I like some of the alien designs. I definitely like some of the droid designs. I am kind of looking forward to the gladiatorial combat part.
I think fighting a Hutt is a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, and it was done in the comics and done well. A buff Hutt is actually not a new concept. That was even in the old EU, if you remember Beldorian the Hutt. But my big hope leading up to The Mandalorian and Grogu was I always felt like them talking about Rada the Hutt and Embo and all of that stuff was a big misdirect. And I felt like the actual plot is something that they have been keeping under wraps and waiting to spring on us. And there's still a possibility they do that in the movie, and maybe that's why they're not telling us anything plot-wise. Maybe they want it to be a surprise. But that's a gamble if that's what they're doing, because you've got to get people into the theater to see it. And right now, this trailer, it's fine, but I wanted it to be, man, I want to go see this movie.
My favorite is they're like showing his face as if that's a drawing point. Like, hey, remember this guy that you all said no thanks to 4 different times last summer? He's back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like, no disrespect to Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver's casting doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't feel to me like she
it?
fits in there. Now, I'm glad to see the Hutts. I'm actually glad to see that these are the same Hutts, I think, from the Book of Boba Fett, and I actually like those characters, and so I'm glad to see them back. We got to see the Disilogic Hutt clan symbol, so we know that they're tied to Jabba and likely the line of succession. That's all good and fine. We see the Shadow Council, fine. But
I'm like, if this is already about the Hutts in the underworld, like, why did we need the Empire again?
Well, they've got loose ends that they're trying to do something with. And
do you think Grand Admiral Thrawn shows up to lead into Ahsoka season 2?
Well, here's the thing: is that was what my theory had been. Is that they wanted this to be the actual plot was going to be involving all of the warlords coalescing under Thrawn's rule, but they don't want to show that. They don't want to let people know that's what the actual plot is, and then this movie would be the teaser for the eventual Thrawn movie. But now all of the chatter is that they're not throwing much marketing support behind this movie. Nobody seems to have any faith that the Filoni-verse is going to go forward. That sounds to me like the Thrawn movie probably isn't happening, and if that's the case, you don't tease Thrawn for a Thrawn movie that doesn't come. So that tells me he's probably not in it. And if he's not, and if they're not leading to something like that, this will just be a couple of TV episodes, and then it'll die with a whimper. And that, I think, is...
The thing that Nate pointed out in Mr. H reviews about this trailer, it's all Marvel humor. Like he put, like, from the very first second, it's like you get the swell of the John Williams score, you get the R2 unit, and then all of a sudden Grogu's pressing buttons. It's Marvel humor, like I was hard pressed to disagree about that. Like, they undercut everything with a joke in this. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be Marvel.
Yeah, maybe a little. Weirdly, one of the things that I've been hyper focused on is they've made a big deal out of a lot of the aliens in The Mandalorian and Grogu are coming from the Djaret chessboard on the Millennium Falcon. And one of them is that big alien that they're fighting with in the thing when he drives the pram between his legs and Mando goes rocketing past him. Mm-hmm. He's wearing this orange vest. And it's like, it's the same orange vest as the Djaret chessboard piece. What are the odds that every alien of this species just happens to be wearing that outfit?
It's like when the Skrull lady, like in Secret Invasion, turned her arms into Ebony Maw, and he had like his rings and everything on the fingers and stuff. I didn't know that was part of his DNA.
It's just weird. I don't know. I'm trying not to be too down on it because I really did love the Mandoverse. I really did. I loved the first 2 seasons of that show, and it's one of the few things Disney did that I invested in and liked, and I want it to be a success because I like this character, and I like the idea. I thought the idea was brilliant. Yes, it's kind of a ripoff of Lone Wolf and Cub, but there's a reason that those stories stick with you, and I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a little overused, I think, in modern storytelling because it's like the one way that they know how to tell a positive male figure in Hollywood anymore. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it work well in like the first Last of Us game, things like that. I don't know, man. Like everything Lucasfilm does now, though, is Lone Wolf and Cub. Like even like the Bad Batch was like, the Wolf Pack and the Cub. But, it's all, there's a child that's the key to everything, and you have to protect.
That was a girl.
Well, yeah, that was a girl. That was a girl cub.
That was Mommy Fett.
All right, guys. We got to get to our main story. We've gone a little long with our news stories tonight, so we should get to the movies of 1994. I actually had trouble picking movies this week. I'm glad that you guys actually had some good solid lists because I didn't see a lot that really appealed to me out of 94. So
I loved 94.
I'm glad. I'm really glad you guys were into it because I was a little nervous about this year. We're going to start with Trish because she got me her list first, which meant that all of her picks were safe.
Woo!
Trish,
not that I'm.
There were a few that you got, crazy. Trish, where I was like, darn it! Like I.
You got quicker.
There were at least 3 of them.
All right, here we go. Number 1.
That's one of them.
I'm cackling because I got my glass again and told him I absolutely forgot this movie when it was absolutely the first movie of 1994 that I thought of. I love this movie. I'm glad I stole it from you, Marv. I've never in my life been more offended at a remake.
Oh,
I didn't even bother.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I'm perfectly content living my life as if it never existed.
They have never made another like version of this IP that has worked, except for that TV series that they made.
TV series was phenomenal.
Yes, the TV series. I mean, like cinematically, Crow 2, Crow 3, the remake, all garbage.
Well, the thing that annoys me about the remake is that this story is very much personal to the person who created it, and it came out of his grief. And I feel like everything that they did in this remake, which I believe he did not approve of, he was not happy about, it just flies in the face of so much of it. And I cannot imagine just the things I've seen of the remake that it is as emotionally resonant as this movie is. There's a reason why people still talk about this movie over 30 years later. Its soundtrack is incredible also.
Oh, The Cure.
I know that's a common theme for me with my movies that will come up again later in my list a couple times.
Burned by The Cure is one of that entire scene is just so good.
And it's just this is one of those ones that I cry watching this movie, and I don't feel compelled to own a whole bunch of movies in general, but I was like, I have to own this movie. Like, this is a movie I have to absolutely always have access to. So if that doesn't say everything coming from someone like me, it's just, Lorn, have you ever seen it? I know Kevin and Marv have, but have you ever seen it?
Believe it or not, I have not. I never saw this one, and I'm not sure why. I remember when it came out, everybody was talking about it, but somehow I missed it.
I'll sell it to you. It's RoboCop for goth kids.
I'm not sure that's the selling point for me, but okay.
That's not where I thought you were going with this, Kevin.
That's an interesting pitch, but okay.
It is. I think one of the, if not the greatest vengeance tale of all time.
I remember sitting and we to this day I don't know how he got it, how he knew, but I remember sitting I think in the 7th grade, because it took him a little bit to finally put this movie out. I remember sitting in 7th grade and finding out that Brandon Lee was shot while filming this movie. And like everybody just stopped and no one knew what to do. And then people were just sad for the rest of it. And to the side, like, I just do not know how he found out, because it was pre-cell phone. Or well, pre-cell phones for the masses.
Yeah, pre-commonplace cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
Reality Bites. This is another one on my list that the soundtrack is absolutely part of this movie. I think this is one of those ones where it might be because I'm female and you guys aren't, so I don't know how much this speaks to you. It's not like overtly dripping in femininity, but it is a love story.
This is not one of the ones you stole from me, by the way.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
You know, I remember this was a big movie that I totally forgot existed until I saw it on your list.
It was a big movie. It was a really big movie. And I always laugh at the line where they talk about how the only thing they learned in college was their social security number. Because you have to put that on everything. I do feel like Ethan Hawke's character, ridiculous that he ends up with a girl, spoiler, ridiculous that he ends up with her because he is insufferable. But it's very much kind of in a similar vein to Singles, but not the same type of movie necessarily, where it's very 90s. It's very 90s relationship, Gen X, great soundtrack. It has a similar vibe. I think Reality Bites is more popular and more well-known than Singles, but they scratch that same itch. And I feel like, much like that movie, if you're in a specific time period or from a specific time period, it's not to say it doesn't resonate with other people, but I think it resonates more if you're in a certain age group at the moment than probably anybody else. And this movie is why I can't hear My Sharona without thinking about this movie. Yeah, I know this is one you guys aren't going to have much to say about, so I won't ramble on and on about it, but it is one of my favorites from
all I had was My Sharona, and you stole that from me.
I'm sorry. Was this one of the ones I stole from you, Mar?
No.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, this movie is somehow a classic, but also like incredibly memeable. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's genuinely an excellent movie, but then there's parts that everybody will, I don't want to say make fun of, but like make fun of.
Sorry, I ruined your Black Panther party.
Dan ice cream.
Run, Forrest, run. I love the meme that goes around at New Year's of Lieutenant Dan just sitting at the bar looking miserable with the confetti everywhere. That's like one of my favorites. but once again, this is another, I guess, man, 1994 was like the year of movies with excellent soundtracks, because this is just like chef's kiss. I mean, obviously it's all music from the eras that you go through with him, but it's kind of like what Dazed and Confused was, but on a broader level, I guess, a little bit more mainstream of a level, where it's just this amazing mixture of songs. I know the book is supposed to be a little different from the movie, but I never read the book.
A little different is not the way to describe the book versus
it's a lot different. I've never read it, so
they are stark raving opposites.
Oh, okay. So like, why even adapt it?
Well, so
that's questions we're still asking today about all kinds of movies.
So actually, they started to try to do a faithful adaptation, and someone was like, "This is going to bomb," because in the book, Forrest is shrewd, whereas this Forrest is a little naive. In the book, Forrest is very shrewd. He is, I would say, a little aware that he is at a slight disadvantage and plays it up. And then everything is it's just so weird. Bubba lives, Mama lives, there's a monkey, like he gets a monkey. It's just so radically different. If they were ever going to make the book, they would have to make it a cartoon, I think. No one would take it seriously as a movie.
Kevin?
I love this movie. I do. I just love this movie. I saw this in the movie theater twice.
Did you really? I never saw it in the movie theater.
Walked out of Ace Ventura and went back and saw this a second time.
This is...
I finished Ace Ventura. I didn't leave Ace Ventura.
I was say you walked out of Ace Ventura?
Oh, no. God,
I knew what you meant. I figured you finished it. This movie is Wes Craven doing meta before Scream. I feel like maybe it's just me. This movie seems like it might be getting more people understanding and respecting it a bit more now. But at the time, I don't think people really, it was a little too early. Like it needed the 2 years more for Scream to really push that meta button and have it work. And I do think Scream is just legitimately a better movie. But this movie was, it was just a little too ahead of the curve, because if you don't know about this movie, I think you probably just figure, it's just another Freddy Krueger movie, but it's not. It's just another Freddy Krueger movie. And did you love it, Kevin? Because when I watched it, I was kind of like, it's okay.
I love all things Freddy. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is like real world stuff. And then when I saw it the second time, I liked it better the second time than I did the first time.
Okay. I mean, it's leaps and bounds better than Freddy's Dead, but I don't know how much that's really saying, because that movie is far in the gutter.
That's not saying much.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those ahead of its time movies, and you have Heather Langenkamp playing Heather Langenkamp and not Nancy, and you have like Wes Craven being Wes Craven,
not Wes Craven,
not Wes Craven, and you've got like Heather Langenkamp's family, but it's not actually her family. Like,
and Robert Englund is in the movie, but he's not Freddy, but he is Freddy.
It's one of those things that when you try to explain it, it just sounds like what? It doesn't make sense when you watch it, but I wonder if it suffered a little bit at the time from people were just expecting another Freddy movie.
Yeah.
And they didn't get it. It's kind of like Halloween 3 kind of suffers from a little bit of that. But I do like it.
I get it. He never wanted to kill Nancy. They killed Nancy. Well, yeah, and then he wanted to bring it back, and it just didn't happen. And he was like, screw it, we're going to start this all over again.
He's like, I will find a way. Was this one of the ones I took from you, Marv?
Yes, it is. One of the 3.
When I put it on there, I was like, I know he's going to try to pick it. I just know it.
Of course,
I was like, I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, you know what? I'm not as great as explaining these in terms of like the actual story as you all are. So, like, if you want to talk about it, I don't want to take that from you, but I just think just the movie again. It's a lot. I feel like a lot of '90s movies are like this. I don't want to say you had to be there, but I feel like if you were there, it just hits a little different. Like someone could watch this today and enjoy it, but I don't think it's going to be the same.
I watched this recently with my brothers and my brother's wife and my other brother's girlfriend, and like none of them really grew like they had never seen this movie before, so they're seeing it for the first time like as adults. And my youngest brother didn't even like he wasn't even born yet when this came out. So I was interested to see if this held up for them, and they left, and they were dying laughing the entire time. Clerks is brilliant. I mean, it's especially when you know the full story of like how it came to be. And if you don't know the full story of how it came to be, just watch Clerks 3 because it's a weird meta, like, ego fest from Kevin Smith as he starts to lose his mind in his older age. But this was peak. It's so dialogue driven. It's clever. It's not made with like, legit, it was all like community theater actors from Jersey.
It's like, it's weird. It's like, it's not well done.
Yeah.
But it needed to not be well done.
Not being well done is part of its charm.
Yeah. It feels incredibly independent.
And it takes a really dark turn at the end.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where you're like, the first time you watch it, you're like, what?
This is one of those movies where you're not going to get it until you've had your first teenage job that you've had for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second you sit down and go, because I knew it existed, but it was one of those like, did you see Clerks? Blah, 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 blah. And then finally, it was at Hollywood Video. But so I didn't see it till like 98 and thought this was the greatest thing I've ever seen because I was in the middle of I wasn't even supposed to be here today cycle. By the way, the Clerks cartoon is freaking phenomenal. Judge Reinhold makes me laugh every single time.
My favorite line in the entire movie, and one of the only lines you could actually quote from that movie on the WWE Pro Show, is this job would be great if it wasn't for all the customers.
And it's like, if you've ever worked in any kind of job where it's like retail or some sort of service industry, you completely understand that sentiment.
I don't appreciate your ruse, ma'am. Your ruse, your attempts to deceive me. That's one of my favorite exchanges of the entire thing. And of course, my favorite running joke in the entire thing is 37.
Leave that one there.
Yeah.
Okay, I mentioned this back when we talked about My Girl. We don't have to talk about it a lot, but I do consider My Girl 2 a solid follow-up to My Girl.
You're not going to pull a Marv talking about Ninja Turtles 3?
It's a good movie.
So I hear. But I do think it's an enjoyable. It's not as memorable. It's not as any of those things, but I don't think anyone went into My Girl 2 thinking it was going to be any of those things. But I do think that considering what it was and what it was following up, It was good. Again, this might be a little bit more, girl thing at the time. So, like, I'm not expecting Lorn to know, especially because he was very adamantly against the first My Girl for its emotional resonance, shall we say.
Macaulay Culkin dies in that movie, right?
Spoiler, Marv.
I think the grace period is past.
Right? What'd you say, Marv?
He said Macaulay Culkin dies in that movie, right? Which is like
I've never actually seen it. I've only heard of it, and I heard that Macaulay Culkin dies.
Knows about it.
Let's put it this way:
his character survives in as the main character for The Wicker Man.
More years have passed between that movie being released and now than Macaulay Culkin had under his belt when he died in that movie.
Why do you like doing that?
Because if you're protecting spoilers, it's like,
oh no,
trust
I'm just
me.
teasing. I'm just teasing. You just wanted to make people feel old. Is what you really wanted to do. And by people, you mean me. Yeah.
There you go. That's the true answer.
Okay, so this is like sort of a cheat, but sort of like not, because the director's cut of this movie really did come out in 1994. It is exceptionally longer. Like they didn't just add like 5 minutes. They added like, I think like at least 40 minutes to this thing. They added like canned heat numbers. They added to Jimi Hendrix. I had watched a chunk of this in a film class in college. It is a little hard to get into it when you weren't there. But it was such an important event, and I think the fact that they turned it into that movie when they did in 1969 was a pretty big deal, and I understand why they keep trying to recapture that, or at least they did until 1999 went and messed that up for the brand for all eternity. But like at the same time, it's one of those things I don't think you can ever fully recapture. 1994's version came close. I mean, no one was setting anything on fire in that one, that's for sure. But I think it's an important movie if you care about music the way I do, and particularly your kind of rock / a little bit of, I'm not huge on folk, but folk music, and I think if you care about documentaries, it's a good thing to watch, because I say this like for Lorne's reasoning of to make people feel, but like it's up there now at this point, but it's still a thing that we all know and we all talk about. And it was one of those things where it's like, I watched it, I didn't feel like I needed to watch it again, but I was glad I watched it the first time. Like I was glad I saw it. And like, I have memories of my mom having the Woodstock album on vinyl and listening to it. And so I do feel like it's one of those things that if you're like me and you care about music, you should see it at least one time. And if you're going to see it, you may as well see the director's cut with more numbers in it, especially if they're adding to Jimi Hendrix. And I'm assuming I'm the only one who can talk about that. Okay, now we're starting to get to Tristan know what else to pick for 1994. However, I felt like Kevin might be able to talk about this with me, because I felt like if any one of the three of you has seen this, it would be Kevin. Yeah, I don't remember a lot about it. I remember two things. I remember the Celine Dion song that was like everywhere. And I remember the fact that it's like the cop and the waitress buy a lotto ticket together and then like win the money. And like that's the plot of the movie.
There's something with pizza, right?
If you say so.
That's all I remember.
I probably saw it in 1994 and then never saw it again. But I do remember, like, again, I'm not particularly difficult to, entertain with a movie. So I didn't dislike it. Nothing on my list I outwardly disliked. It's just, I think my last like 3 or 4, I'm like, I think I saw these when they came out. I don't remember them much anymore. But I do remember, I'm pretty sure I saw this with my mom and we enjoyed it at the time. It's a regular rump. I think it was, to say it on the poster, I feel like it was based on a true story. Am I making that up?
No, you're not.
That sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, unless we're both wrong, it's possible that this actually happened in real life with a waitress and a cop. And I don't remember what happens, and I don't remember if they fell in love. I'm guessing this is another one that I picked that Marv was upset that I picked.
Number 3.
I, again, saw it when it came out, and my main motivation was that I absolutely had a crush on Devon Sawa at the time. That's my main memory of this movie. I don't remember. You don't know who he is? It's a blonde guy.
The blonde, yeah.
Yeah. Whoever the blonde is. I mean, you probably legitimately remember the story better than I do. I just remember that I absolutely wanted to watch it because I liked Devon Sawa. So those are my memories of it. This
is one of the formative films for me growing up. This was on our TV all the time. It is one of the definitive kids sports movies, from classic lines like bag of Cheetos, crunchy or puffed, wuss, or wimp. He calls him a wimp. I mean, things like that. Things Spike don't play with girls. I'm gonna hit you so hard you're gonna be farting out of your mouth and talking out of your butt, and then it actually happens. Fumble Rooski. It is just a masterpiece film in that 90s era, that whole genre of youth sports movies. And I think it's like, I don't even like football, and this movie is tremendous for me. I cannot say enough good things about it. Rick Moranis and Ed O'Neill are wonderful. It's a great underdog story. My favorite part in the game is when the parents are all like, "We gained a yard," and they all like start flipping out. It's a wonderful, wonderful film.
Ed O'Neill makes me think of Kevin.
I love Ed O'Neill.
Just every time he comes up, I'm just like, Kevin. Okay, Kevin, I know you have to remember this movie.
I do.
I remember it.
This is that movie for me where, when you have like a vague recollection of a movie for the longest time, but you don't remember like pertinent details. You're just like, I remember that it had Christopher Lloyd and Andrew Keegan in it, and it took place at a camp. Like, that was this movie for me. So this movie weirdly left like no imprint, but enough of an imprint that it ate away at me for the longest time until we had the internet in any kind of like real way that I could remember what this movie was.
You remember we talked about this like 3 months ago when I was trying to remember Camp Cucamonga.
It's so easy to confuse them.
This movie was the first, like there's that one movie when you're a kid, it's the first movie you ever see where like you don't just automatically like everything anymore, and you're like, wow, this was kind of a bad movie. This was that movie for me.
I don't even remember what I thought about it.
This was the first movie where I, as a kid, where I was just like, that wasn't very good.
And I'm pretty sure I probably conflate details of it with Camp Cucamonga. It's just, the 90s were really good for kids at camp movies and TV shows. I mean, the apex being Salute Your Shorts, of course, yeah. But I wonder what it was about camp in the early to mid 90s that they made so much.
Because kids actually went to camp.
I guess. I was smart even then, and I knew camp was not like the camp that they were showing in these days.
Yes, the laws were changing, and your children weren't allowed to survive at home when you were at work. So you needed to send them someplace. Yeah, and that place was camp.
Everybody went to camp. I never went to camp, but like most kids went to camp. I would have never stood for camp.
All right, guys.
For camp.
That was it for Trisha's picks. We are running way behind, so we need to pick up the discussion a little bit if we're going to get through these. Marv, you've got a bunch, and you've got some good ones. So here we go.
I mean, look, this is the movie that launched Jim Carrey as a viable movie star. It's silly when it has to be. There's even moments of seriousness. It is a ridiculous premise, and it works so well. And I am legitimately shocked that the gender community has not tried to cancel this movie outright.
Well, they did.
They did try? Well, they're never going to succeed. And
it got pulled off of Netflix for a little bit, and people are like, "This is stupid. Put it back."
Yeah. But now the question is, will Jim Carrey ever get to the point where he apologizes for this movie the way the Silence of the Lambs guys have apologized for Silence of the Lambs?
That's not Jim Carrey's way.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean this movie is as good as the sequel is bad. It spun off a great animated series that was actually pretty funny. And it gave us the great Finkel is Einhorn, Einhorn is Finkel, and the montage that followed of him washing his mouth out and plunging his face and just absolute ridiculousness. Now, I thought that like this was the one that started the ball rolling on Jim Carrey's career, but on Lorne's list, we'll see there was another Jim Carrey movie that same year that I guess Hollywood had already decided this was the guy to go with. I mean, this was every kid's fantasy. Every kid's fantasy. You've got $1 million, and I love that he spends it in like 2 weeks. But I love Blank Check was Blank Check was bad. I love the tagline for this was, if you loved Home Alone, you'll love Blank Check. And it's basically like Home Alone, but with like $1 million. And yeah, this was just a great, like, awesome, feel good. I guess the closest thing a kid's movie comes to a power fantasy, because it's you know, you've got all the money in the world and a giant house and all the toys and whatnot in the world. I love Blank Check. It's a classic for a reason. I mean, look, there is The Mighty Ducks is one of the greatest sports movies of all time, and this is a sequel that lives up to the original. When we go from Pee Wee hockey to the Junior Goodwill Games, when all of a sudden the coach of a Pee Wee hockey team is getting endorsement deals, this movie is utterly ridiculous and awesome at the same time. They bring back all of the players that were worthwhile from the first one and add a bunch of characters into this that were actually like really cool and really fun. And they had kind of a patriotic message to it in the end. But when they come out as the USA Ducks at the end, man, that is a tremendous moment. The only person, the cat definitely gets the shaft in this one because she only plays for one single play in the entire movie, despite the fact that she's an infinitely better goalie than Goldberg. And just put Kenan Thompson on the map with as Russ. It's knuckle puck time. Again, another sequel that lived up to the original.
Sorry. I have no marbles.
No marbles.
Marbles.
My favorite line in this is the guy heckling Charlie Sheen from the and he goes, "Hey, Wild Thing, you make my butt stink."
You make everything. What a puke.
But that moment when he comes back on the field as Wild Thing at the end, when he like lets go of the corporate and he gets his mojo back, that is such a cool moment. You know, and look, I've said it before, I don't like baseball, and that is Randy Quaid. I knew it. Okay. Randy Quaid is the heckler.
I have a quick "we're horrible people when you're in high school" story. So we had an assistant coach who at the time we did not know he had a heart problem. So we're at practice one day and like our main coach is just making us run to death. And then all of a sudden, like everybody's just like calm down, getting water, having a conversation. And all of a sudden the assistant coach is going, and it was like, well, and then everybody starts doing this because we think he's doing something. So we're all hitting our pads. And then the main coach goes, "What do you got to say?" "Heart attack."
Oh, my.
So we think he's quoting Major League 2. So then we start going, and then it's a therapy thing, and it's a movie thing. A heart attack. Who said heart attack? Me. He was not having a heart attack. He was having really bad indigestion. But for the rest of the year, everybody kept going, heart attack.
That's amazing. There's nothing more I can add to that, but this is not the last baseball movie on my list. Return to Jafar, probably, in my opinion, the best of the Disney direct-to-video sequel era. It's got some good songs in it. It makes Iago a central character. It continues along the Aladdin story beautifully. I think it could have been released in theaters and have made a lot of money. I love Return of Jafar. I think it's really, really good. It was one of the first things I watched on Disney Plus when it came out. I mean, come on. This movie's peak. When they actually, to make a live action Flintstones, I'm shocked it's the only time it's been attempted, but it was attempted to perfection. Rick Moranis, John Goodman, even Rosie O'Donnell, they are all perfect in their roles. Dino looks incredibly convincing. Just the way they created Bedrock and just how it just looks, this movie looks like the cartoon come to life. Even the little things like Fred, when he yells Yabba Dabba Doo and he jumps up in the air and like holds there, like, oh, it's perfect. It is, or when he does the bowling and he does like the twinkle toes thing up to do the bowling thing. The Flintstones is a major, it was my mom's favorite cartoon. So we watched the Flintstones all the time growing up. So when this movie came out, you know, and it had the McDonald's tie-in where you got the glassware that looked like the stone. And, you know, around my house, we call that the fine china.
Only to be outdone by the Batman Forever mugs. This also had the BC-52s, and Halle Berry is Sharon Stone only because at the last second, Sharon Stone tried to hold them up for money.
Halle Berry is which is funny because Halle Berry says that when she filmed this movie, she was like super shy and super reserved and like not at all in touch with like her sexy side. So, but man, oh man, was she awesome in this. I mean, this is a sequel that I think outdoes the original. Legend of Curly's Gold is incredible. I love both. But I mean, the greatest joke in the entire thing is when John Lovitz says, "There's something wrong with your cow." I was trying to milk him, and just nothing was coming out. The cow's name is Norman. You were pulling, you know, and I can't say on the Pro Channel, but and it ends on a cliffhanger, and they never made City Slickers 3, and I'm still salty about it to this day. It's probably one of my favorite Billy Crystal movies. Daniel Stern is wonderful in it. John Lovitz was an amazing addition to the cast. And I mean, come on, Jack Palance is so good at playing these old cowboy roles. My first R-rated movie as a kid was Speed.
And it was Keanu. Look at you.
We rented it on VHS, and I had to cover my ear. It was the first time in a movie I ever heard the F word. Actually, it might have even been the first time in my life I heard it, because my parents never cursed around us. So I was like, what does that mean? And my dad was like, that's the big bad word. You cannot say it. And I was like, oh, okay.
Who's afraid of the big bad word?
Yeah, essentially. That is not the poster I sent you, Lorn.
I know. You sent them to me on my phone.
Yeah, I assumed because you have an iPhone that you had a Mac and you could have seamlessly.
I do not have a Mac.
I could have sent it to you in another way. You didn't ask.
I didn't. I was trying to get the show together. Just talk about the movie.
All right. Well, this is not the right poster. This is
like,
the terrible.
There's nothing wrong with the poster. It's just a poster.
No, it's the post. It's not the poster from the movie.
But this is so you guys want some insight on to what it's like running an indie fed for wrestling. Whenever a wrestler doesn't have the music that they pick, they decide to jam everything up and whine about how they don't have their music until someone like me goes, "Get all the expletives out of there before I murderize you."
Well, so this is the poster for the live action remake, which is literally just another cartoon, but computer generated. Lion King is the definitive Disney movie. It is the peak of the Disney Renaissance. It is everything that a Disney movie should be. The music is iconic. The performances are iconic. The animation is brilliant. It is, in my opinion, just the perfect Disney film. Not my favorite Disney film, but the perfect Disney film.
Okay, that's fair. Because I was going to say, I don't love Lion King as much as other people do.
What's your favorite?
Aladdin.
I can show you the world.
Now, I saw Lion King and Angels in the Outfield with my dad in a double feature. So we watched Angels in the Outfield, and then we watched, like, it was one after the other, like right in the theater. There wasn't even really like a pee break in between them. But man, this movie, This I'd be hard pressed to tell you my favorite baseball movie between this, Rookie of the Year, and The Sandlot, because all three of them within basically within a year of each other.
Sandlot.
I mean, this one's really good too, though. Christopher
Yeah, but
Lloyd.
Sandlot.
I mean, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt in like his first role ever.
Yeah, I understand The Sandlot.
All right, thank you for your opinion, Trish. We watched this in the hotel on the way back from Christmas, and I just fell in love with it all over again. It's such a good, like, this poor naive kid whose father makes a sarcastic jerk comment to him. He thinks it's real, and for some reason the cosmos responds to him. And we get, I thought Tony Danza was great in this. I think Danny Glover is wonderful in this. Everything about this movie, the ending scene where the entire audience stands up and starts flapping their arms like the wings. I mean, like, if you don't get like a manly tear or choked up at that scene, where's your heart?
Hold me closer, Tony.
This one's just fun. This movie is just really fun. The He-Man Woman Haters Club, Little Rascals. One of my dad's favorite shows when he was a kid, and so I was familiar with it already because I'd heard the legend of the Little Rascals so much. When this movie came out, I could not wait for it, and it's a really fun movie. It's terribly acted, but it is. It's worth it for the blooper reel at the end, where it's just a non-stop barrage of the directors telling the girl who plays Darla not to look at the camera.
I got a dollar. I got a dollar. I got a dollar. Hey.
Yeah.
That's what I always think of. That's what I always think of with this movie.
Yep. The definitive Christmas movie. I mean, well, one of the definitive Christmas movies. Definitely one of the biggest Disney ones.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you of the Muppets Christmas Carol. Definitive Christmas movie, The Santa Claus.
Yeah. No, The Santa Claus is one that I always have to watch. It's I love and it's fun as an adult to kind of like ponder the existential horror that is this movie, because it's not a clause, it's a curse. Like you literally are fundamentally altered by a mystical curse that erases the person you used to be and binds you into a magical contract with these elves to basically be a slave to Christmas for the rest of eternity. So yeah, think of it like that next time you watch it. Arnold Schwarzenegger is pregnant. Danny DeVito is the doctor. Emma Thompson is the mother. Come on. This has comedy written all over it. I don't think I need to say much more.
Well, since that's all you're going to say about it, that's it for Marv's picks. We're going to go with mine next. I have a smaller number than everybody else. I'm going to go through them real fast. First one is Maverick. I love Maverick. Lou Wasserman's ghost is wrong about this movie. He's just wrong. I don't care what he says. I love this movie because I love the original James Garner series. My folks started collecting VHS tapes of the old show, and I watched them religiously. I loved that show. I loved this movie. There's not anything about this movie that I dislike. It is a wonderful movie if you like comedic westerns, and especially if you have familiarity with Maverick from the old TV show. Definitely worth a watch. Next one is The Shawshank Redemption, which I had to have on the list. This was actually my first experience with a theatrical production of something that was done by Stephen King, and it wasn't a horror movie. And I was very surprised to find how much I really liked this movie. It's kind of funny because the production was fraught, and I know Morgan Freeman actually is not a fan.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't like this movie, and he doesn't really talk about why, but I gather there was something about the process of the making of the movie that really turned him off on it.
I wonder if it's because Frank Davenport may be a little difficult to work with.
Darabont? I think that may have something to do with it, but I don't know for sure. As far as I know, he hasn't elaborated. I do know that he kind of injured himself on the baseball pitching scene because they had to do so many takes, and so that may also have something to do with it. But definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it.
You know who loves this movie? Andy Dufresne. He was my friend. I love this movie so much.
If you love Shawshank Redemption, I highly recommend Cougar Town, because Cougar Town does an entire episode dedicated to reenacting the escape from Shawshank.
The reveal of Andy Dufresne's escape from Shawshank is one of, I think, the best put together scenes in cinema history. It's so iconic. The music, the way the music hits with it, I love it. Family Guy did a really good spoof of it, where when he's hitting the rock into the thing to like to break it, it's because the warden is watching Friends in his office, and he's like sitting there waiting, like, so no one told you life was gonna be this way.
Why are you being so obtuse? How dare you, Dufresne?
Not today, not after breakfast.
Next up is Star Trek Generations. And boy, do I have mixed feelings about this movie.
I was wondering which of you two was going to do this movie.
I was so excited about The Next Generation hitting cinema screens, and I was so disappointed by this movie. Honestly, the only Next Generation movie that I actually liked was First Contact. I thought the rest were garbage. I thought that Kirk went out like a punk in this movie. I thought that the movie broke its own rules with regards to the Nexus. I thought that the studio were cowards in that they didn't feel confident that the Next Generation crew could carry their first theatrical release on their own, and so they had to do the team up with Kirk, which, you know, I don't disagree with as an idea, especially as an episode for the TV show. But for their first theatrical release, it should have been a Next Generation movie.
This movie was just, Paramount just does not like letting Star Trek be Star Trek. It was originally conceived as a two crew meetup, and then someone would go and they wanted the Enterprises to fight, and then someone was like, how could the Enterprise defeat the Enterprise D? It doesn't make sense. So then they threw that out. And then when he's on the bridge in the beginning, it was supposed to be the big three, Kirk, Spock, McCoy. And then Leonard Nimoy was like, yeah, I don't get out of bed for more than 5 minutes of screen time. So then they want to, who they want to. And then they changed the ending. They changed Kirk's death because it felt too dark. And not grandiose enough. And then the writers were forced to write this at the same time as All Good Things and the second to last episode. So they're like, we don't even know what to do with this movie. So this is what we got. And then I have a theory that that Kirk is still in the Nexus, and that everything we got was from Picard's perspective.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't like it, but it was a major release for '94. I actually wrote the review in the school paper about this movie, and I ranted about it there too. So I've been kind of ragging on this movie for, I guess, 30 years now. So
the VHS box for this was awesome, though.
I did see in the chat that everybody knew this one was going to be on my list, and it absolutely was. This is a great movie. It is about the only Alec Baldwin starring movie that I will say he actually is phenomenal in. I will not say that I forgive him everything for this movie, because I do not, but I am glad that we got at least this. And incidentally, The Shadow, at least I think, if I remember right, the radio announcer portion of The Shadow is already in the public domain, but I think the Street and Smith version and everything else goes into the public domain next year, so maybe we'll see a Shadow revival. I'm curious to see. Next up, we've got True Lies, which I remember as the first time that I really saw a Schwarzenegger movie that was well, I guess Kindergarten Cop was probably before it. But the first one that I really remember as being really comedic and really just slaying me when I watched it. And also, really introducing me to Jamie Lee Curtis. It's like, yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Cameron. Appreciate that. Next up, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which was kind of a wild card pick for me.
I would have picked this if you didn't, Lorn. This movie's amazing.
You know, I feel like everybody slagged this movie, and it didn't deserve it.
They poo-pooed this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
This movie got beat up.
Oh, yeah. They mocked this movie on late night for months, and it was critically panned. I think part of it was because of the electric eels. I think that was part of it. Also, you know, Kenneth Branagh has got an ego, but he's aware of his ego and can laugh at himself. And so it's one of those things where I think they sort of, he's got a lot of shirtless scenes in this, and I think that was part of it too. But for me, this is my favorite adaptation of Frankenstein.
Me too. This is so much better than that Netflix movie that came out this year that everybody was falling over themselves over.
Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of Frankenstein adaptations, but of the ones that I have seen, this is my favorite, and I think it deserves a second look. So
yeah, 100%. De Niro and Branagh are brilliant in it. I mean, Helena Bonham Carter is great in it. Everyone is good in this movie. Like, the sets are fantastic. The score is so good. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And my final pick is The Mask. And
I couldn't believe this was the same year as Ace Ventura. To me as a kid, there was a longer stretch between the two films.
He had 3 movies that year.
Oof.
Yeah, he kind of exploded onto the scene. You know, it's like he'd been in living color, but when he hit the cinema, it's like it was like a nuclear blast. He was so hot that everybody wanted him for everything. And this, I feel like, is when they were really starting to get creative with what they could do with CGI. This was a Looney Tunes cartoon brought to life. It's not one of my favorite movies, but it's a good movie, and I think it's probably my favorite Jim Carrey movie. Well, maybe with the exception of Liar Liar. I really like Liar Liar. But definitely worth a watch, and what a heck of a way to explode onto the scene. And finally, we've got Kevin's movies, which naturally start off with...
I love you, Kevin.
Listen, I spent an entire summer doing this in the mirror because this bike was so awesome. And then I'm going to kick that son of a bee's bison's A so hard that he will not know what hit him. I hated this movie when I first saw it because of what they did to Ken and Ryu, but I also love this movie because it is just so disastrously bad. But Raul Julia says, "I will carry you over the finish line, although I am also dying," because my kids love this movie. And then I was
just going to say, weren't his kids like huge fans of Street Fighter, and that's why he did it?
That's why he did it. And then I got the Sega Saturn Street Fighter the movie game, which has Sagat in it, played by Ernie Reyes Sr., who does absolutely nothing in the movie. Leon. Yes. So first of all, I remember when this movie was just called The Professional. And before it became Leon the Professional.
When did it become Leon? I always thought it was just The Professional.
Yeah, it was just Professional, and then
isn't it like Leon colon now? The Professional? Yeah. Like, isn't that how they refer to it now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it's at some point it became Leon the Professional. But this movie's tremendous. Gary Oldman chewing the scenery as an evil cop.
God, I love him.
The world gets introduced to Natalie Portman for the first time. There's a Transformers cameo because they're watching Transformers when the family gets massacred, and it says one of my favorite endings of all time. Even though the good guy dies. Oh, and it has my favorite Gary Oldman memeable moment. Everyone.
I love Gary Oldman.
This movie. This is the movie that helped America be okay with gay people because Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise are the single gayest men on the planet in this movie. And everybody loved Kirsten Dunst. except for when she went up in flames because she was just so delightfully evil. Listen, if you love Tombstone, here's its boring twin brother.
I love anyone that starts with "listen."
Is that all you got?
That's all I got. It's a good movie, but it's so boring. It's so boring.
I love how he's like, it's good, but it's boring.
Long. The movie is so long that you're just going to go, you know what? I'm going to go watch Tombstone.
Yep.
This is everything you love about Quentin Tarantino if someone didn't know how to make a Quentin Tarantino movie. But Rodney Dangerfield is amazing in this.
You need to start writing the poster quotes or the box quotes for these things because they're perfect.
Right. I'm telling you, he's a wordsmith. He has just a way of, I don't know how his brain works, but he always knows how to do that.
So I waited so long because I was so pissed about that cliffhanger ending and wanted to know what they had. And then they tell you what they had. And then the movie is okay. I was definitely too young to watch, did not really understand the political intrigue. And when I watched it again years later, I liked it so much better. But this is a very solid movie. I'm very sad that this was his last outing as Jack. And then also said that they killed James Earl Jones. But I never read the books, so I don't know when his character dies. But I was like, but you got rid of James Earl Jones. Like, you can't get rid of Darth Vader. But whatever. It is what it is. Good movie. This movie.
I feel like Naked Gun movies should just be set aside for Kevin on these
could
lists.
not be made today. You could not make this movie today at all. No, not a chance.
Especially the Anna Nicole Smith reveal.
Yep, that's the one. Yep.
One of my favorite scenes is his prison speech. What are we, animals? This shit is like, you call this slop? This is more like gruel. What are we, animals? And this Chateau LeBlanc 48, this is room temperature. It's stupid. I love this movie. Oh, at the end, where they're doing the exchange with the gun and the bomb. Well, you're the lunatic. You should have the bomb, and I should have the gun. All right, let's switch. All right. And then the audience keeps slapping their head. Ah, what a tremendous finish. I love this stupid movie.
I'm actually surprised they got away with making that movie back then. It is a kind of incredible. I hate this movie. I hate you have this movie on its list.
This is the movie that closed out Jim Carrey's year. I love this idiotic movie. I love this idiotic movie. This is one of the dumbest movies ever made, and it is so good because it is so dumb.
I'm picking up on Lorn not liking idiotic, slightly zany movies.
Pretty bird.
I like slapstick humor. I don't like truly dumb humor.
You know, I'm just saying I'm picking up. The longer we do this, the more I see what we all gravitate towards for picking, generally speaking. I know that Lorn, you try to cover everything, but still, you have your favorites in there. But I also notice like what we comment on, and I'm just noticing, you know, Drop Dead Fred, Dumb and Dumber. There's just certain things that are like, Lorn's not about it.
Hey, this is the best.
I was way off.
This movie has the best diarrhea scene in all of film.
What a sentence.
Jeff Daniels should have gotten an Oscar for that scene.
I don't know. I kind of feel like American Pie's got the best, in my opinion.
Oh, no. Jeff Daniels grabbing the bowl and putting his feet up into the air and then lurching forward. It just.
Have you ever seen the SNL sketch where he's on like this interview show as himself, as Jeff Daniels, and they keep trying to do like a career perspective, but every clip that they show is just the diarrhea scene from Dumb and Dumber.
You guys.
I was just watching Lorn through all that.
Before we move to the next movie, I've got to ask you, Kevin, What is this? I've never even heard of this. I saw
I'm
this
so
and it's like,
excited.
I got to admit, I'm curious. This I feel like maybe one that I would like, but where did this even come from?
You did put it in. This is baby Denise Richards and Paul Walker. So here's the premise.
Sure.
Young couple, madly in love, but Denise Richards has a very jealous ex-boyfriend who torments her current boyfriend, and then her boyfriend is befallen with a horrible accident, and a crazy zany doctor is unable to revive him, or was he? And then because he lets Paul Walker die, he then decides, I can't let this young man die because I have a magical madness-driven experiment that I must complete, and his brain is perfect for it. And then he removes Paul Walker's brain and puts it into a T-Rex's body. And now you have a T-Rex with the mind and emotions of a teenage boy who just wants to be loved. And I give you 10 and the T-Rex.
You know, I was going to ask you, how did Denise Richards' career ever take off after this? But then I thought about it for a minute, and it's like, oh yeah, I know how.
Yeah, Wild Things.
What is? I've never heard of this in my life.
You've never heard of this movie? This
No.
was the movie that had the Joker and the Catwoman in it.
Never heard of this.
This is actually a Jack Nicholson werewolf movie.
Yeah, that's it. Jack Nicholson werewolf movie. If you ever wanted to see Jack Nicholson run around like this for 2 hours,
That's about
this
right,
is the
yeah.
movie for you.
It actually sounds kind of appealing in a weird way.
Actually, I remember it. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's not a bad movie,
That's not
actually.
a bad movie.
It's surprising. It's like I never would have thought, Jack?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, especially at this point in his career. I think one of my favorite scenes is there's someone that he has an issue with. It's been also, I don't remember exactly what the issue was, but they're both standing in a bathroom together. And then the guy irritates him, so Jack Nicholson just starts peeing everywhere. The guy's like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I'm marking my territory." Oh, there's something about Cinco de Mayo. It's Mexican Independence Day. What happens in the movie?
Kevin's like, I'm not doing that.
On that note, that is the last of our picks for tonight.
I love the movies you choose to end on, Lorn. Like last time it was My Boyfriend's Back, and this time it's Wolf.
Well, it's like
I was upset. There were two that I love dearly that I was hoping somebody would have on their list. Is The Page Master and Richie Rich. This was a good year for Macaulay Culkin.
We do have some super chats to get to before we close out for the night. We have Jason Webster 9300 for 2 Australian. Pedro Pascal has been in more places than COVID.
And promoted by the same people that promoted that.
Retromeister for 5. Mando and Grogu will be Space Jam New Legacy all over again in the case of using nostalgia as a safety net from bad writing and storytelling. And I'm afraid you're right. I hope you're wrong, but I'm afraid you're right. Retromeister for another 10. While Speed was my first R-rated flick, The Mask truly made my childhood. Years later, I can truly relate to Jim's character being a cartoon-loving, hopeless romantic with hiding a wild side to himself. And
Still so mad when that reporter lady completely turns on him.
We got Sean, formerly known as John, for $1.99. Lorn. Highlander 3. When is it appearing? Never.
In 1995 when it released.
No, not even then.
I'm just saying there was a lot of talk about Highlander 3 in the chat tonight. It was not out in the United States until January of 1995.
I thought it was. I could swear it was a 94 release, but I don't think we had
it. Came out in December 1994 in the UK, but the United States didn't get it until January 95.
Jason Webster for 2 Australian again. I prefer Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and I do too. I don't know why it got hammered as badly as it did. It just did for some reason. Sean, formerly known as John, for $1.99. No Stargate? What's up with that? Retract last super chat. I wanted to like Stargate. I didn't. I for some reason it just never set the hook for me, either the film or the TV series.
It's funny. I didn't put Stargate on my list because I just assumed it was going to be on one of your lists.
This happens every episode. Do you ever notice that?
Mm-hmm. I had a friend in high school who just loved random movie quotes and like making random noises. And for some reason, just like there was this X-Men game that came out and you're fighting the Brood Queen, and she goes, "Ooh." So I'd be sitting in math class and he'd just be laughing himself and going, and he would just sit there go, "That can be only wrong." But he would just say it to himself. And it was the most ridiculous thing ever. That is how I remember Stargate.
Yeah, it's the concept I think was interesting. It was one of those movies where it's like it felt like it had everything that I should like. It's got Kurt Russell, it's got a great cast, it's sci-fi, it's ancient Egyptians and alien gods, and it's like it's got all the stuff I like. Why don't I like it? And I've never been able to answer that question. I just didn't. Jason Webster for 2 Australian. I love Luke Besson's Leon the Professional. So apparently we did some good picks tonight. I think people like some of the stuff we did. And LK8181, member for 9 months. No PCU. If you haven't seen it, you need to. What's PCU?
Martin's not here.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put PCU.
Martin's the one who always brings it up.
Yeah, I thought Martin was going to be on, so I didn't pick PCU. So PCU is Jeremy Piven before anybody knows who Jeremy Piven is. And he's Van Wilder before they decided to make Van Wilder.
I remember you talking about this one. Yep. Okay.
He is like just this eternal, never going to graduate guy. And the college is everything awful about being politically correct. You've got the angry lesbians on one side. You've got the environmentalists on the other side. You've got the preppies. And then I don't remember why. I think someone's got to graduate. And then he just facilitates a giant woke war before we knew what woke was. It just everything. John Favreau plays his character named Gutter, who just does entirely too much of the ganja smoking, and it is so insanely quotable. It's if once you see this movie, your life will never be the same. That's how absurd this movie is. It was another one of those movies too that if you could get home to HBO before 3:00, you would see PCU on at some point. Never from the beginning, but it was just on your 4,000 HBOs.
All right, guys, that's our show for tonight. What do you guys have to pitch over the next few days before we get to our next show?
M4 Empire. Watch it. M4 Empire Gaming. Subscribe to it.
Lost Guys. Check it out.
Boy, you guys are really selling it tonight. I love it.
115.
I'm only 75 for 500, folks.
Oh, wow, that's close, Kev.
All right, be sure to go and check out the House of Apollo. Like, subscribe, comment, ring the notification bell, notify your neighbors, notify your friends, threaten your enemies, and make sure they're aware that it's there. On that note, we're going to close out for the night. Thanks all of you for being here. We had a great time. Look forward to seeing you on Friday night. Until then, everybody take care.
Lorn and Apollo!